In Madden 23, the new skill-based passing system and the overhaul to defensive coverage are two big changes coming to gameplay. This video is sponsored by EA Sports, as they have given me some images and clips to share with you all as I break down how these changes work and what you can expect from them. Skill-based passing is one of the key parts to the all-new Field Sense gameplay system. While there's some other components to the Field Sense system, in this video I'm going to primarily talk about the skill-based passing and the improvements made to defensive coverages to provide the counterbalance on the opposite side of the ball. Skill-based passing takes the jaw-dropping throws you see in the NFL and brings them to life in Madden 23. The new system is designed to give you even more control over every pass you throw by combining a new passing meter to dictate your power and trajectory, and it also includes a new accuracy reticle for pinpoint precision. To use skill-based passing, press any receiver icon to throw the ball, and then you use the left stick to aim your pass to lead the receiver. The basics of this system is just that simple, and it's what you're already used to, which means you don't have to relearn something entirely new. However, there's multiple layers to what skill-based passing offers, which we'll get into now. The first thing you'll notice is the ellipse and the target reticle. When you go to throw the ball to a receiver, you'll now see a gray ellipse underneath them. This ellipse represents where you can aim your pass when using the left stick and shows you the area that the receiver can guarantee a catch attempt. Keep in mind that the ellipse can vary in size depending on the route of the receiver and the depth of the pass. Within that gray ellipse, you'll see a new reticle so you can get the visual feedback for where you're trying to lead the receiver. You'll be able to move this reticle via the left stick within this ellipse. This should be similar to what you're already used to, but now you have more visual feedback to help you with pass leading. Where this system gets much more in depth and really shines is with free-form passing. Free-form passing allows you to move the reticle outside of the ellipse, which truly unlocks never before seen throws and new catch animations from your receivers. This is where you can attempt those high-risk, high-reward throws such as back shoulder fades on the sideline, proper fades to the back of the end zone, and lead those deep shots further in front of your receiver. It's also important to note that you do not have to predetermine who you want to free-form pass to before the play starts. If you remember a few years back when they tried the target passing feature, you had to highlight a receiver before the play that you wanted to target pass to. This is not like that. You can completely decide on the fly when you go to press the receiver's icon. If you notice there's more area where you can lead the pass away from a defender and give your receiver an opportunity at a bigger play, you can now do that. When using freeform passing, keep in mind that by aiming your pass outside of that gray ellipse, you're not guaranteed a catch by the receiver, but you're also putting the ball where the defender will likely not be able to make a play on it at all. You're basically giving your receiver a chance at a big play while minimizing the risk of a turnover if you time things right. To time a proper back shoulder throw down the sideline, you want to aim the reticle down and just outside of the ellipse so that the receiver has to turn around on a dime to make the catch. This makes it difficult for the defender as you're putting the ball in a spot that is very hard for him to make a play on. When using fades near the goal line, you want to aim the reticle up and just outside the ellipse, targeting the back pylon. Here you'll see a variety of new fade catch animations that will give your receiver the ability to make those big touchdown grabs behind his defender. All you need is the slightest step on your defender, and you have the ability to pull these plays off if your accuracy is on point. In past Maddens, these completions just weren't possible because the ball was tethered to the route and you could only lead the ball so far in front of the receiver. With freeform passing, the ball can truly go to any spot you want it to on the field, and it's not held back by routes and animations. Another great example of where freeform passing is useful is against a cover 2 defense, where you have that sweet spot between the underneath cornerback and the deep safety over the top of him. You can aim the reticle to the outside shoulder of the receiver and put the ball out of reach of the deep safety. Routes that cross the middle of the field like digs, slants, and drags can also be used with freeform passing to create more yards after the catch potential by leading the reticle more upwards when the open area is available. Now, it's also important to mention the different settings that come with this new system because they make it much easier to use and allow you to tailor the system to your exact liking. You have a freeform distance distance setting, which allows you to make these precision passes outside of the ellipse without easily messing up. For example, you can set your free-form passing distance to near, which will only allow the reticle to go about 2 yards outside of that gray ellipse. It'll lock in place once it reaches its max distance. This allows you to make some of these more difficult throws without the risk of moving the reticle 15 yards too far by accident. However, you can set your freeform distance to the max, which will literally allow you to place the reticle as far outside of the ellipse as you want. You also have a reticle speed rating, which allows you to control how fast your reticle moves on the field. It can be as sensitive as you want it to be. Find the perfect speed that works best for you. And for offline play only, there's a slowdown feature which will slow the game down so you have more time to place the ball where you want. I like to think of this as more of a teaching tool. Use this to get familiar with the new passing system, as everything does happen pretty quickly at regular game speed, so using the slowdown setting to get acclimated with the new system will be useful. The last part of skill-based passing includes new passing meters. The first meter offers you the ability to influence not only the power of the pass, but your accuracy as well. Holding down the receiver icon starts the meter, with the goal of releasing the button when the indicator gets into the blue field on the meter. The blue field represents the accuracy of the pass. The accuracy field on the meter can become more difficult to time when facing pressure or trying to throw on the run or cross body. Your quarterback's accuracy ratings and abilities also scale the accuracy within the meter. If you can land the accuracy in the blue field, you can guarantee an accurate pass. The other meter, while similar, is just a power meter without the added accuracy bonus. You can lob, bullet, or touch pass based on when you release the wide receiver icon, and the meter fills up to visually show the power level of your pass. This is basically how you throw the ball in current Madden games, but with a visual indicator. In my opinion, using the meter that guarantees accuracy if timed right is the one to use, as it does have that added benefit. While this whole system is very different, it's also very rewarding if you allow yourself time to get the hang of it. It's one of those things that may seem a bit overwhelming at first, but once you get used to it, you won't want to pass without it because of the possibilities it opens up. But hey, if all of this sounds just too involved, there's also a setting that allows you to use the old passing system and turn off all of this new stuff. If you want to pass like you're playing previous Madden games, you can do that too. Now let's jump over to the other side of the ball. The offense got some serious love, so the defense definitely needs to be brought up to speed to handle all of this. It's no secret that coverage in Madden has been an area that's needed work for some time. Some years it's better than others, but there's certain problems that have existed year after year, like deep zones being exploited every which way, one-play touchdowns being very easy to pull off, and flat zones that somehow don't defend the flats very well. The first change with coverage is the return to spot drop zones as the core coverage concept. This means that by default, all of the zone coverages in the playbooks will be strictly using spot drop zone logic and covering a specific area of the field instead of a mixture of both spot drops and match coverages like last year. Match zone coverage concepts are still accessible through the coach adjustments menu during your play selection. Simply flipping the zone coverage coach adjustment to match will bring back the in-depth rule set for match coverages, those that convert zone to man during the play when specifically calling the match coverage play types. The next change is drift logic, which is an all-new coverage behavior for deep zone defenders. What this logic does is prevent deep zone defenders from drifting too far up the field without having a vertical threat in their area. This will prevent those third window throws on deep crossing routes by allowing the defender to recognize a receiver approaching his zone sooner, plaster him in coverage as he crosses his face, and not get beat underneath. This has been an area for years that was a pain to defend because the DBs on the sideline would continue to drift deep down the field and just cover grass while there was a threat running underneath them. Now, if you don't have some type of vertical route running him down the sideline, he will pick up the crossing route when he enters his area on the field. In past games, you didn't need this vertical threat in front of him and he would just continue to drop further back. If you sent a tight end down the seam, for example, the outside DB would often pay attention to that rather than the crossing route that was actually coming into his area, even though the deep safety over the middle was the guy responsible for the tight end. That doesn't happen anymore. This improved drift logic also helps out a lot with the popular one-play touchdown concepts, as now the deep zones drift with these deep posts and streaks better. And it's also worth noting that pass rush is a bit better, and much work has been done to contain QB scrambling, so buying the time for these one-play touchdowns is hard enough on its own even before taking the improved deep zones into account. The next improvement to coverage is the new zone defender locomotion. A whole new set of defensive back specific movement animations have been captured, and along with AI support, the defenders in Madden 23 will backpedal, flip their hips, strafe, and look back at the ball smoother, more athletically, and more realistically. Not only will defensive backs look the part, but these new movement animations also get them to where they want to go in coverage faster and more efficiently, which will make passing windows against zone coverage much tighter. Route-specific break-on-throw logic is another huge change in my opinion. Dynamic break times have been added for each type of zone defender when facing specific routes. What this means is that zones that are supposed to take away specific routes or areas of the field will break on the throw faster than they will versus routes that their zones are not designed to take away. One example of this is hard flat zones, which now aggressively break on routes to the flat instead of leveraging the deeper routes first. If you throw a flat route versus a hard flat in Madden 23, there's a good chance that it's getting picked and taken the other way. There's also been changes with how DBs react to passes in general. With zone coverage defenders playing stronger fundamental football, tuning was done to balance between the play ball, play receiver, and SWAT so that you'll see defenders use more realistic behaviors when the ball is in the air rather than always attempting for the interception. This coincides with tuning on how far defenders are allowed to see the ball when not facing it, and promotes more organic interactions at the catch point via the Field Sense Hit Everything system. And while this video isn't particularly about the Hit Everything system, one big area of that new system is the ability to pull off mid-air collisions. There's plenty of new animations which allow DBs to interact with catch attempts by landing big hits in mid-air to try and separate the receiver from the ball. These are not two-man animations, these are two separate animations where the DB is independent of the receiver going for the catch, and when possible he can get in there and try to lay a big hit. DBs will also intelligently try to jar the ball loose from receivers after the catch by punching or swiping at the ball. I was able to play the game for a limited amount of time, and I will say the defense did feel pretty tough. I tried all of the popular money plays and one-play touchdowns of the past few years, and they were much harder to pull off. I found myself taking a lot of checkdowns and just taking what the defense was giving me, because if you tried to force some of these old tactics, the defense was very unforgiving and you were going to likely throw an interception. The new passing system definitely comes in handy because now you really need that precision to try to fit the passes into this tighter and smarter zone coverage. I felt like I had to mix things up and I couldn't become just too one-dimensional or dependent on any one player route, because nothing was really guaranteed the same way it was in the previous games. I can honestly say this was the first time in a long time that playing this game felt completely different than what I've been used to in previous years. If you want to hear my complete breakdown of the entire game so far, check out this video right here on the screen.